Most people think control, 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 control. It's about legacy. Legacy is a big part of it. And if you have a man who's 40 and up, let's say, and they don't have a legacy in the form of offspring, then they're going to want to be in the best possible position to create that. Okay. The best possible position to create a legacy, whether it be like Denzel Washington and have one woman for the rest of their lives, or be like Ziona Chana and have what is it, 39 wives, 94 kids, 36 grandchildren. I forget what the number is. I did an episode about him. But pick your lane, whichever lane you want to go in, because not every man can be Denzel and not every man can be Ziona Chana. You have to choose which one fits you. And of course, you have to be in the right position in order to be both. So the age gap. I know you ladies, especially more so in the Black community, is kind of frowned upon. Yeah, they usually give away their prime years in their 20s. They're not really looking to get swooped up. Not at age 20, not at age 21, 22, 23, 24. Nah, they're in school. They're in college, trying to get those careers, those degrees and certificates that don't mean a damn thing. So they blow their prime years and they get in their 30s and all of a sudden want to get swooped up. I don't know, man. They did studies that most men in their 40s and up usually go for women in their 20s, between the ages of 18 to 25, I believe the study is. And in order to build a nation, you need those who are literally going to sort of follow your lead, follow your guidance, follow your tutelage, because you have the wisdom and you provide it to the woman that you select for this, or women in the case of people like Ziona Chana. And so it is almost like taking on a fatherly role to some extent, which is also the big rub, because there's the generation gap that people think about, because they say, well, there's nothing that you can relate to. Somebody that's 48 can't relate to somebody that's 21. You know what I mean? But I don't know. What do you think about that? Maybe you can put some ideas in the comments section. Being able to relate, I think that has changed a lot because of the internet. Because when we think of that, for those of us that were, I guess, born in the 70s, born in the 80s, for Gen X and millennials or older millennials, you're usually thinking like that because you're thinking of life before Google. In the internet age or the tech age, the rules are a little bit different because people are exposed to a lot more things now. It's the energy exchange. What do you think? Why is it not cultivated here in the United States? Why is it not a thing? We know that it exists. We know, and at least men understand this. You go to men's spaces, they'll talk about it. But then again, it depends on how big the distance is. Most ladies want 7 years up, 10 years up, right? You ladies probably want dudes that are about 7 years older, 10 years older. You're not really thinking 15. You're not really thinking 16, 17. You're not really thinking the distance between, like, let's see, Coco and Iced Tea. But yeah, the age gap. I think of legacy. That's what I think about. That's where my mind goes. Because then you put yourself in position for that. And you have a higher chance of that actually happening. Now, there's no guarantee with that, okay? But you basically are putting yourself in position. And you have someone who is excited about life too. They're not jaded by the world just yet. Although you do have a lot of women today that are age 23 becoming jaded by the world because they're exposed by so much more. A 23-year-old today is not the 23-year-old of 1997 or 2002. Okay? These women today are exposed to far more stuff. So a woman today who's 25 is probably equivalent to a woman who was 35 15 years ago. It's pretty profound. It's not the same conversation. They've traveled to multiple countries by the time they're 25. A lot of hot girl summers and all of that stuff. That's why I say you got to get those boring girls. That's hard. That's hard to find in the United States. You ain't gonna find no boring girl age 25 in the United States. Good luck. Oh man. But yeah, the age gap, I don't know. Ladies, I know you're afraid of it because you're thinking, damn, I don't want an old man, old man. But you know what? There's a lot of dudes who don't look like they're in their 50s. Ladies, if you get a dude who's like 46, but he looks 30, that's not a bad deal, especially if he's got his stuff together. In most cases, that's the case. You don't have to deal with all the games, the very straightforward communication. In most cases, we do have men who are 45 years old acting like kids. But generally speaking, they have a clear view and a clear vision. They articulate their ideas. They present the stuff to you, and then you decide what you want to do. They'll lead you to the promised land. That's the idea. That's what it is. So even though you're thinking, oh man, 52, but if they're taking care of themselves and they got that body, they're carved up and looking nice, looking like they're 30, you know what I mean? Because like I said, we may be headed to a new generation of people who get to 100 with no health problems. Okay. We may be facing that going forward. And then there's so much you can learn. I mean, I'm not sitting here being some sort of an advertiser for this. You know, you do what you want to do. But those are the ideas that are circulating. And that's the very truth. I mean, we see it. You know, you see it. You see these men who are in their 40s, 50s, 60s, and 70s who are going younger. But I think that with the way things are right now, with the social climate in the condition that it is right now, it's almost going to force that there is going to be a demand for masculinity. And in most cases, more often than not, the men who have the most masculinity are Gen X, older millennials. Yeah. If you were born before 1990, there's a higher chance of that masculinity still being intact. You know what I mean? Because you haven't been groomed to be the opposite. There's a lot of us that didn't buy into the programming. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of people, a lot of dudes did, you know, and some had to rewire because we were raised by women. That's another thing too. You know, being raised by women, you got to unhook, you got to rewire, you know. There's going to be a movement towards masculinity. I don't know how long it will last. I'm predicting it now. And I'm talking real severe, like on mass proportions. I'm not talking about the stuff you've seen on YouTube. I'm talking about mass. Like there's this, because everything comes in waves. You know, we're cyclical. Things are cyclical. It goes in circles. You know what I mean? We've seen what third wave feminism has done. We've seen that. All right. But things do come back. Styles come back. Slangs come back. Ideologies come back. So mark my words, there's going to be a move. There's going to be a massive movement of women who are literally going to march for men, and they're going to drop. They're either going to march for men, wanting men, desiring men of a certain type and masculinity and all of that, or they're going to start being more open to it because they're going to realize we pooped up. We pooped up. We don't want what we've done. We need to get this right. So there's going to be a large percentage of that. Mark my words, as we push further into the 2020s, watch, you're going to see it. It's going to overtake what has happened up to this point. And, you know, things happen in small doses. You know, it's not going to be like that, but you're going to start swell. It's going to start to swell bigger and bigger and bigger. You're going to see it on Twitter. You're going to see it on TikTok. You're going to see it. So for you men who are extremely masculine, buckle your seatbelts. Keep working on you. Keep doing what you got to do, because I'm telling you right now, the pendulum is going to swing right back to you. Ah, yeah.